Hi everyone, my name is Micaela Terronez and I am the Assistant Librarian for Special Collections here at Knox College. And if you've never been to Special Collections, that is totally okay. It's actually very normal that you haven't been to one yet. But I do want to give a brief introduction as to what we are and what we do. So we are the main repository for rare and unique materials here at Knox College and probably in Galesburg too. But something to note about us is that we are under one repository, but we have two main collections. So there's special collections, which includes maps, manuscripts, artifacts, and rare books. And then we have the archives, which is specific to the history of the college. So the people, the places, and the things that made it what it is today. But you'll find out that within those two main collections there are various other mini collections. So I have a couple examples out here today that I'll get into a little bit farther, but I do want to talk a little bit about some of the things that make us unique. So one thing to note is that we are non-circulating. So you can't pick a book out of our stacks and check it out and take it home. But you can view it in our reading room, which is where we are now. It's very lovely. Unfortunately, during COVID, you cannot come and drop in whenever you'd like, but you can certainly set up an appointment, and I can talk about that later. Secondly, it is very cold in here. You see I have a sweater on, but it's very hot in Galesburg. And that is because we want to make sure that the materials stay as preserved as possible. A lot of our paper objects, if it's really humid and hot, they tend to get crinkly, they smell really badly, and so we don't want that to happen to these wonderful objects because we want to make sure that they stay as preserved as possible. Third thing to note is that we're a secure area. So we're not open 24 hours, of course, and we usually keep some of our materials locked up. And that's just because we want to make sure that materials aren't handled like you would normally at a typical library, where you're able to pick it up and take it off the shelf and put it on the table. We have staff do all of that, and then you just have the goal of looking at the materials and researching them. So I do want to step in and get into the collections here. Something that is really cool about where we are is that we have various different formats and themes. So for example, we have the rare book collection, and these items are really cool. There's various different mini collections within the rare books. For example, we have the Smith collection, which discusses more of the Civil War and those topics. This is an example of just our general special collections area, and it's a really cool pop-up book. And we've got several of these also in our children's book collection, but this is just one really cool format that we have. Secondly, we have our manuscript collection. So this is a scrapbook from Teruo Okada, and he was the first Japanese student to enroll at Knox College. And it's a really cool scrapbook. There's various different pictures, and there's materials from when he was here at school. But I love scrapbooks because they give students an idea of what it was like to be a Knox student, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. And they're really telling of what campus is like. Third, we have our art collection materials. So our art collections range from various different materials. There's sculptures, there's paintings, portraits, and we are lucky to have artworks from Clementine Hunter, and she was a Louisiana artist, self-made, and she very typically would use materials that were found in her home. So she would use bottles or milk cartons or window shades. And we actually have two objects here that are of hers, but they're very big. So I couldn't show them and put them on the table. But we do have example prints. So this is one of them, which is depicting a baptism. And then we have another one here of a harvest. And so these were some of the themes that she would cover. Fourth, we have the college archives. I'm going to swing around here. So the college archives, that will dive into some organizations and some sports teams. And so one of the ones that I wanted to highlight for you was Puddles, which used to be a synchronized swimming team at Knox, and I think that is awesome. I wish we still had it and we could still see that, but we don't. But we have wonderful pictures. And I really like their programs too because they're pretty creative. There's also different themes like the Wizard of Oz and Peter Pan that you're able to see. And fifth, our final example is local history materials. So something that's really interesting is that Galesburg and Knox College were basically founded by the same people and during the same years. And so a lot of our materials are intertwined with each other. And so one example that I have here is from the Prairie Playhouse. And this is from like the early 1900s, a program. And it's really cool that we have it because you get an idea of what kind of announcements there would have been, who played who, how they would have conducted this play, in particular in the early 1900s, which is really fascinating. So yeah, you can see just right now that there is a very diverse collection of materials. And something we want to make sure that you as a student understand is that this is all available to you. Typically and historically, a lot of special collections are not as open. You have to have certain credentials or you have to be a student at that college to be able to view it. So our materials are pretty much open to anyone as long as you are respectful of whatever you are looking at. As far as coming in during fall, you can set up an appointment with us and you can come in and then we'll go over some more policies and procedures with you. If you are interested in a particular topic or subject, just let us know and we'll try to find something that is as beneficial as possible for you. So you can contact us at specialcollections@knox.edu or you can contact me personally at mterronez@knox.edu.